my mind, I was able to think and process. And if I let him get back up, he's going to get back up. I was like, let me finish this right now. And I caught him with that left hook, and then I caught him again with that right hook just to make sure the job was done, because I was calculating his hands wasn't touching the ground and his knees weren't touching the ground, but I know he was still going down. To make sure he was to get back up, I had to let those last two off, man.
Combat Sports Report. Only on Sports Grid.
He's just only 2,300 points behind. So even if he does win at Memphis, he's still going to be behind Scottie Scheffler in the points by 300. So why? I mean, I want Scottie Scheffler to show up in Memphis, but does he need to? If Rory's not showing up and the third place guy, even if he wins, isn't going to pass him?
The Smiley Show. Only on Sports Grid.
What do you make of the season that Barkley had last year as he piled on the yards to get over 2,000, and what can that look like this year?
His year could have been much better with different circumstances here. So he was great. I assume he'll be great again. You want to take Jahmyr Gibbs? I don't have an issue with it, but, Barkley, yeah, you're going to lose the tush push.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on Sports Grid.
Big Fish is the best player in the WNBA. She is running away with the MVP award. Why is that? Caitlin Clark injured. Asia Wilson not playing at Asia Wilson level, but it's more about the fact about what's around her has been an issue. So to me, Fish is almost like the MVP because everyone else has gone down in some way, shape, or form.
Betting above the rim. Only on Sports Grid.
Tom Brady sits down with FOS Today on his Birmingham soccer ownership, plus Lionel Messi angry at Major League Soccer. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Front Office Sports Today, presented by Atlassian. From FOS Studios in New York City, I'm Baker Machado.
And I'm Renee Washington. Excited to have you guys kick off the week with us, as each and every weekday we chat the biggest stories happening in the business and culture of sports. We also have NFL insider Jordan Schultz on later to talk NFL contracts, holdouts, training camp. But first, let's dive right into the shoot around, Baker.
And let's start in Cooperstown, as Ichiro Suzuki became the very first Japanese-born player to be enshrined into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. He joined CC Sabathia, Billy Wagner, Dick Allen, and Dave Parker. Now, Ichiro fell one vote shy of becoming the second unanimous selection for the Hall. He received 393 out of 394 votes, and even joked about falling that one vote shy of unanimous induction. He called out the one writer who left him off the ballot, which was funny, but at the end of the day, what an incredible career for him, and it was great to see the celebration for that.
Yeah, and even a midday storm that delayed the ceremony by an hour could not stop this moment for these guys to be honored. Now, for Dick Allen and Dave Parker, unfortunately, since they passed away, weren't able to be there, but their families did a great job of, celebrating them and honoring them. For someone like Billy Wagner, this was his 10th and final year on the Hall of Fame ballot before he received the necessary votes. And then you look at someone like Sabathia and Suzuki, who were first ballot Hall of Famers. And I love the fact that we also got to see each of their speeches a little bit differently. The one that jumps out to me is Suzuki.
Yes.
As Ichiro Suzuki mentioned, before becoming a Marlin in 2015, he hadn't even heard of the team.
Yeah.
But here you are, legendary, 10 gold gloves, a Rookie of the Year, AM MVP, all the honors, and of course now a Hall of Famer. So a special moment for these guys.
And of course, the only player so far that has been unanimously inducted in the Hall of Fame is Yankees closer Mariano Rivera. Meanwhile, Inter Miami's owner says Lionel Messi is, quote, extremely upset. This after receiving a one-game suspension by Major League Soccer for not participating in last week's All-Star game, a punishment the team official called, quote, draconian. Now, MLS rules say any player who does not participate in the All-Star event without prior approval is then ineligible to compete in the club's next match. Inter's owner says it was the club and not Messi that decided he would miss the event, saying they were prioritizing his health and wellness after he played 9 matches in the last 36 days, which makes a lot of sense.
The MLS is not messing around when it comes to these rules. Back in 2018, terrible joke, by the way, Vlad Ibrahimovic of the then LA Galaxy, when he was playing in the league, was also suspended for skipping the All-Star game. They followed through with this rule, but I do like Inter Miami's response to this because they called out the congested schedule. Of course, they've had the Leagues Cup is starting in just a couple days. They've had so much international games that they've had to play. Messi's been a big part of that. So for Messi, what do? They bring in the guy he won a World Cup with, in Rodrigo De Paul, who's on loan with Inter Miami from Atletico Madrid. And I know David Beckham mentioned his veteran experience and what he brings. He's known as the bodyguard for Messi because he does the defensive work, allows Messi to focus on the offense, the playmaking, and he's the guy that said he would, quote, go to war for Messi. So I love the fact that Inter Miami had the right response in bringing in a guy that would just help solve some problems, add some more depth. And with that, he's not a DP. He does get a prorated $1.5 million loan, but expectations are come December, he's signing a 4-year deal that will get him paid $12 million annually. So big move for them.
All right, let's move to racing as Bubba Wallace won the Brickyard 400, becoming the first black driver to win a major race at the Indy Motor Speedway, and also his third career NASCAR Cup victory as well. Also, the other big race, the In-Season Challenge. That went to Ty Gibbs, who finished 21st to win the inaugural March Madness-like single elimination tournament. He also collected the $1 million prize in this as well. So what do you think is the bigger story here?
Both?
Yes.
Well, this is the second cup or event that we see in the Cup Series. The NASCAR All-Star Race is another one where racers can win up, about $1 million. So exciting for Ty Gibbs, who going into that race just had to beat out Ty Dillon, and he did so, finishing in 21st. So kudos to you, because as he mentioned also after that, because $1 million is so much, as he mentioned, that him and Dillon are going to work together to donate $10,000 to any charity of their choosing. But for Bubba Wallace,
that's the best
this
part.
is a great story because this is his third career NASCAR Cup victory. He hasn't won since 2021, that he's been struggling a little bit to be first. And also with that, that's snapping a 100 race winless streak for Bubba Wallace. Makes history doing so, becoming the first black racer ever to finish in first at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So love the fact that Bubba Wallace had this moment for himself, for the culture, for racing.
Amen. Well, two of the biggest holdouts from the NFL training camp have arrived to camp as first-round pick Shamar Stewart and the Bengals came to terms, while Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin ended his holdout without a new contract. Plus, we got more drama happening with Micah Parsons in Dallas. So let's take a look at our main event. All right, Renee, let's start with the Chargers and offensive tackle Rashawn Slater reportedly coming to terms on a deal of $114 million, $92 million of that guaranteed. And then you have Micah Parsons. Doesn't look like there's going to be anything so far that has sort of moved the needle on him getting a deal with the Cowboys.
Yeah, and Cowboys fans were chanting to pay Micah at training camp. Listen, when you look at Micah heading into the final year of his rookie contract, expected to earn $24 million, and guys like a TJ Watts, who had set an NFL record for highest non-paid quarterback with his deal, it makes sense him deserving and wanting to get paid. On the other side, Slater did get paid with that $114 million deal, extending him through 2029. When the Chargers drafted him a year after Justin Herbert, it was to be the protection of his blind side. So I know Coach Harbaugh has mentioned the offense needs to step up. They need to do more to help Justin Herbert. And one way to help them do more is to invest in your guys like they did with Slater.
All right, and for more NFL contract news, let's bring in NFL insider Jordan Schultz. So Jordan, good to have you here. Let's start with Shamar Stewart. Finally, the first-round pick signing with the Bengals. What at the end of the day got him to sign?
This was a really complicated situation in the sense that Shamar felt like the injury language was not fair, and the Bengals felt like, you are a first-round pick. This is standard language for us. And there was a big, massive disagreement that took place really over the last few months. And, at one point during rookie minicamp, he actually left. Then he went back to College Station at A&M. And then what happened was, I think both sides were really able to come to an agreement that let's both compromise and meet in the middle. So Cincinnati essentially says to him, we'll pay you this $500,000 trigger much earlier. And then Shamar agrees to the language that they needed. But ultimately, it's a situation that I think the Bengals were really frustrated in, because not only did they not have Shamar in camp, but they're dealing with this Trey Hendrickson situation that is fluid, and obviously he's extremely unhappy. And then in Shamar's case, he felt like, okay, I'm supposed to be taken care of the way that all these other rookies are, and I don't feel like this language is fair. And so, again, both sides finding a compromise. I think it's really impressive that, maybe impressive is not the right word, I think it's really cool that they were able to find this, because if this had gotten later in camp, you're looking at a situation where perhaps Shamar isn't ready to play week one. Who knows what happens if he ever signed? Like, there were all kinds of question marks. You heard people talking about, could he go back and play in college? And so I think it was really cool that Shamar and his team, and then the Bengals, they found that compromise, because ultimately this is a guy who has incredible talent. And I think what got lost in this, and I put this out on social media, is that throughout the pre-draft process, there was great momentum with him, not only as a player, but he has this great gregarious personality, and I think he's going to be a real impact guy for them from day one.
Yeah, shifting down to D.C., the Commanders still trying to figure things out with Terry McLaurin, who missed the first 4 days of training and then now is still in a hold-in. He was in a hold-out, now it's a hold-in as a 29-year-old is seeking a contract. Is this a sign the Commanders might be considering getting younger, moving on from Terry McLaurin, or that maybe they're just taking their time to figure out an extension as he's in the final year of his 3-year deal?
Yeah, I can't think of a player more deserving of a long-term deal than Terry McLaurin. He has not had the same starting quarterback for week one in consecutive seasons. And, they have so much momentum, new ownership, new quarterback, Jaden Daniels. He's frustrated, as he should be, because he has been the one constant over the last 7 years. And a lot's been made about age. He's 29, he'll turn 30. He came in he only played basically 2 years at Ohio State. His first 2 years, he didn't play a lot. There's not a lot of miles on that body. He's only had one playoff run, but he's been consistent. He has 5 1,000-yard seasons, comes off his best year, an all-pro caliber year. He named second-team all-pro. I don't know how Washington can justify not paying him what he wants, which is well into the 30s, because that's what he deserves. Mm-hmm. And so if you're the Commanders, you have to look at this realistically and say, why were we so successful last year? Yes, Jaden Daniels, but also we have a great top-tier wide receiver. Let's take care of him.
NFL insider Jordan Schultz joining us. Jordan, thank you so much for your insights all ahead of training camp this week. Thank you. NFL insider Jordan Schultz, thank you so much for joining us. And still ahead, the GOAT Tom Brady joins us. He's talking about his ownership stake in Birmingham City and a new documentary on Amazon Prime. That's next.
Shemar Stewart is having troubles before he even plays a snap. And he's seeing what's happened to the stars of this football team, by the way, right? The Higgins stuff wasn't super smooth. The Hendrickson stuff's not smooth.
But why pay him that big number where you've got Trey Henderson, who's an absolute superstar at edge? You always build a defense. Why haven't the Bengals been back to the Super Bowl in the last 4 years? It's real simple.
Game time decisions only on Sports Grid.
Y'all know where I'm going. And yeah, you can call it Knicks bias all you want. I'm taking the Knicks to come out of the East. I look at this New York team and think that Mike Brown is an upgrade over Tom Thibodeau. You may disagree. I don't care. I look at the fact of getting Yabusele and Clarkson off the bench is going to make the Knicks more dangerous.
Betting above the rim only on Sports Grid.
Your approach with Marion Hampton is, if you're going to draft him aggressively and early, you better be patient, because it might take half a season before he really takes over this backfield, and it might never happen this year, depending on how Harris performs. Gadsden and Disley so far not fantasy relevant at this time. Again, a more run-heavy offense. Hampton and Najee Harris, very intriguing, but the ADP, I think, on both of them is slightly off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on Sports Grid.
Eric Skubal, another incredible performance. I mean, almost going 7-8 innings again, striking out a ton. I mean, I kind of felt like the Tigers really wanted that win.
There's a bit of narrative to it that people like to buy into, or, kind of, I don't want to say push a narrative, but the fact that he's doing what he did last year, but better, and is now in a spot to repeat, like, there's something to be said.
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
Welcome back, everyone, to Front Office Sports Today with Renee Washington. I'm Baker Machado, and move over Wrexham. Birmingham City is the latest European soccer club to capture the world's attention. This is their latest promotion to the EFL Championship. Plus, they're also getting the sports doc treatment as a new sports documentary called Built in Birmingham, Brady and the Blues, which will chronicle the rise of the club. We'll have all 5 episodes drop on Amazon Prime Video starting on August the 1st. So joining us now is the minority owner of Birmingham City, Tom Brady. Hi, Tom. Good to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us.
Great, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit more about this documentary and why you wanted to be a part of it.
Well, we started filming a few years ago, and there's obviously this great club, Birmingham City, 150-year-old club. in the Midlands in England. It's a very hardworking city, and it's got a very hardworking football club. So this season one is kind of a 2-year journey when we took over, and it's very exciting. It's an amazing documentary. It's going to be a great season here starting August 8th against Ipswich, and we've got very high expectations for this year.
And what I love about the timing of this dropping in August is it's almost exactly 2 years after you became a minority owner for Birmingham City. What drew you to want to be a part of that club? Looking back to its history of 1875 since it started, what drew you to get into not only that club, but also soccer as well? Because as a soccer player myself, I'm loving the fact that you crossed over into the soccer world.
Well, we all played soccer growing up, and obviously my sister played in college. Been a huge fan of soccer my entire life. So when I got done with playing football, it was an easy transition to be involved in sports ownership. And I'm doing that in American football with the Raiders. I'm certainly doing it with British football in Birmingham City. The fact that I can play a role in these organizations and try to help other people be successful is really exciting for me.
Well, Tom, let's just talk about it as an asset, because you are part of a growing list of celebs and athletes who are owning professional sports teams, but we've seen a real big rise of athletes owning English Premier League and European soccer clubs. What is it about that particular asset that is such a good one that so many athletes want to own it?
Well, I don't look at it from a business standpoint. I look at it from, a purpose-driven standpoint. For me, it's about being a part of competition and trying to help other people be successful. So I enjoy the process and the product that happens on the field. There's certainly business people involved in selling tickets and sponsorships and so forth, but I want to see other people be successful in their life and their sporting career. I had so many mentors that were a part of my life that allowed me to be successful. And if I can play a role in other people's life, then it's a very exciting thing for me.
Well, do you almost feel because of all of the accolades and things you've accomplished as a player that makes you a different and maybe even better owner? You're looking at things in a different way than maybe other ownership groups don't look at it as the same.
Yeah, and to be honest, I'm not quite sure how they look at it. I just can only rely on my own experiences of playing and performing at a high level and try to convey those messages of what needs to be done or said at the right moment, at the right time, so that these teams can be their best as well. So whether it's women's basketball like the Aces, whether it's European soccer like Birmingham City, or NFL football like the Raiders, a lot of the values are the same. There are no shortcuts to success in sports. You have to have a great culture of people that believe in one another, and they want to show up every day to be the best they can be for their teammates. And, I just want to see this team do great this year. Birmingham City had an incredible year last year, one of the greatest seasons in the history of European soccer. And, we put ourselves in a good position to succeed as we continue our journey to the Premier League.
And what I enjoyed about looking at the trailer for this 5-episode series as it's getting ready to come out August 1st is just how the people of Birmingham City embraced you. Not all positive, some learning about you. What have we had a chance to see through these docs, through these eyes of who you are, Tom Brady, as the business owner, as the minority owner of a club that maybe we did not know about you prior? What do you think this doc really brings forward about that behind the scenes of who you really are?
Sure. I feel like, a lot of stories about me have been told. I think this story is about this club, the people involved in this organization. And again, I'm more in a management role now. I'm not in a day-to-day operational role. I feel like I can play a role from 30,000 feet to make sure the players are saying the right thing. The coaches are saying the right thing. The processes for their success are correct. And I think that I really enjoy that role, and I can play a mentorship role in different ways in a lot of different areas.
In terms of the ownership, obviously you minority ownership in the Las Vegas Raiders, and we know a lot of private equity is now flowing into a lot of these ownership groups as well. I'm curious, Tom, just your thoughts about the introduction of private equity into NFL ownership groups, and do you feel like that's helping the valuations of these clubs move up?
To be honest, I don't really focus much on that. It's, I really focus on the process of improvement for these clubs and for the players and for the practices and the games and the business side. I know there's a lot of other people involved in those things, and the business of sports is very intense, and there's a lot of different nuances to the business of sports as well, both in the UK and America. I think where my expertise fits is actually on the field, seeing what these players go through physically, mentally, and emotionally that allow them to be successful.
Whether it's in the booth, whether it's with Birmingham City and ownership and your various clubs, what goes into deciding and accepting it beyond the player role? Of course, as you've hit on multiple times, is there something specific that you look for in your business ventures that you know now that maybe even years ago you had not known about getting into business roles like these?
Well, again, I think for me, it's business is a part of all of our life, and we're all here to explore different ways that we can grow as a person and get outside of our comfort zone. And when I played 23 years as a player, that's really where my focus was on playing. Now that I've just been 2 years removed, there's a lot of people that are probably years ahead of me in terms of their wisdom and experience in other areas. And I got a lot of ground to make up. So, I really enjoy being a part of these clubs and being partners with different people in these clubs and learning from them as well.
Is there any particular one maybe you wish you didn't get involved with? I know you have said in the past maybe not doing the Netflix roast, but is there one maybe you thought, I thought about it, but maybe not a good idea to do that again?
No, I really enjoy what I'm doing. I love working with Fox as a broadcaster, the clubs that I'm involved in. I really enjoy the ownership aspect of those. I love to work. So I have always had a really strong work ethic. It showed as a player, and it'll show in this second part of my life as well.
Final quick question for you. Anything else, Tom, that you have not done yet that's on your bucket list to do in terms of ventures that you want to get involved in?
My plate's pretty full right now. So I'm
Well,
agreed.
Yes, all right. Well, Built in Birmingham, Brady and the Blues, chronicling the rise of the club. All 5 episodes going to drop on Amazon Prime Video on August the 1st. Tom Brady, the minority owner of Birmingham City. Thank you so much, Tom, for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
And we have a lot more. We have a lot more front office sports today. Headed your way right after this quick break.
It was rich that you're talking about the fact that you don't know what the point of going out there and playing golf and winning golf tournaments when you've got guys who are pining, living in their cars, trying to make a cut, playing the DP Tour, desperate just to be in an event, let alone have the ability to talk about winning an event and being like, I don't know why I'm doing this. Fulfill me. I'm not fulfilled as a golfer.
In-game live only on Sports Grid.
Y'all know where I'm going. And yeah, you can call it Knicks bias all you want. I'm taking the Knicks to come out of the East. I look at this New York team and think that Mike Brown is an upgrade over Tom Thibodeau. You may disagree. I don't care. I look at the fact of getting Yabusele and Clarkson off the bench is going to make the Knicks more dangerous.
Betting above the rim only on Sports Grid.
So Rhamondre's already lost a ton of weight. That's great. He needs to stop fumbling the football. Trayvon Henderson, I think, is that playmaker you need. Then you got Stephon Diggs, Kyle Williams. We kind of talked about those guys. Those are the 2 investable wide receivers. Hunter Henry, I think in a deeper league, is probably your tight end 13 or 14. He's right on the fringe. But I think a good situation here for the New England Patriots.
Fantasy sports today, only on Sports Grid.
This is interesting. Minus 116s, minus 120s in the marketplace. We're seeing now minus 140s across the board and 6.5s on the total.
He's not a big strikeout pitcher. His metrics look terrible, but he somehow seemingly get 5 innings, 6 innings, only 1 earned run. It's because he's a super ground ball pitcher, induces that soft and medium contact. He can essentially sap the power away from the Dodgers.
Pro Baseball today, only on Sports Grid.
And welcome back, everyone, to Front Office Sports Today, presented by Atlassian. Atlassian Williams Racing brings 2 teamwork powerhouses together all around a single goal: unleash the full potential of a legendary F1 race team. From the pit lane to the podium, Atlassian software transforms teamwork and makes possible together what would be impossible alone. Well, University of Colorado football coach Deion Sanders has been away from Boulder for some time as he's battled an undisclosed medical condition. Now Coach Prime has addressed the media for the first time to shed light on just how serious his health issue was. So let's bring in FOS reporter David Rumsey. So David, what did Coach Prime say?
Yeah, so very fortunate for Deion Sanders. He said he had bladder cancer earlier this year in the spring and a successful surgery to remove a tumor and actually remove his entire bladder, but he is now cancer-free. So that's great news for Coach Prime and obviously all Colorado fans out there as well.
Definitely. I noticed it felt more like a sit-down conversation that he was having with his presser and laughing, joking, just explaining what's going on, and even mentioned talking to his daughters about it, talking to his son Deion Jr. But Shiloh and Shador, you mentioned, did not know because he wanted them to focus on the NFL training camp. So they're finding out as we're finding out. What does this say to the vulnerability and transparency of a big personality like Deion Sanders to take to a press conference let us as well as Shiloh and Shador know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know that Coach Prime is very open, and he has his docu-series that follows him around, always bringing insight into social media through videos there. So yeah, vulnerable is a great word. He was very open with the media members that were there in Boulder today, being very candid about how his life is going to change and how he might have a porta potty on the sidelines at games or at training camp. And he was kind of joking about that in a way. Obviously, it's a very serious topic, but he's just seems so thankful to be at the place where he's at now and obviously wants to share his story with everybody.
David, did he mention, will this impact the upcoming season? Will he miss any time, any of that stuff?
No, he is a full go. And, there had been some speculation, just maybe there would be something wrong with him that he couldn't travel to away games because, he was away from the program, like you mentioned earlier, this offseason, but he gave no indication of that. His doctors who were with him and performed the surgery said that, he's a full go. So he's ready for training camp. He's ready for the season, and I think everybody should be ready for him.
Bigger picture, David, how much is Deion Sanders openly talking about his bladder cancer in a very lighthearted way, but also being very realistic and vulnerable about it? How much does that almost humanize sports figures? Because we look at someone like him and we just see the accolades as a player, as a coach, but here he is talking about having to pee all the time, depending on depends, as he mentioned, needing diapers in this press conference.
Yeah, absolutely. He is a perfect example of letting people in. And obviously he can be a little harsh at times in his own press conferences and have some media restrictions from time to time. But obviously today, letting people inside, taking them through the process of, and obviously it was a very private process throughout the spring and the summer where a lot of people didn't know what was going on until today. But yeah, absolutely. He's letting people in and kind of showing that deeper side to him.
David, in the last 60 seconds we got with you, is there a lot of pressure and attention on Coach Prime to do well this year, especially given the fact that his sons are no longer on the team?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Baker, that he had two amazing players in Travis Hunter, the number 2 pick in the NFL draft, and his son, Shador Sanders, who many people thought would be a first-round pick before his draft slide. So yeah, what is he going to do now that those two all-star players are not on the team? And can he get back to a bowl game? Colorado was close to the college football playoff last year in the race for the Big 12 title. Can they do that again this year? He had a huge contract extension, $54 million contract extension this offseason. So the pressure is certainly on, but I think no matter what happens, Coach Prime isn't going anywhere.
All right, David Rumsey, our FOS reporter, reporting on this. Thank you, David. And let's see what's bubbling over at the FOS water cooler. Well, Renee, in a rare moment of unbridled joy, Nikola Jokic was moved to tears celebrating his famed horse winning a race in Serbia. That is, the 3-time NBA MVP shared a hug with the driver and even gave his horse a pat on the back before he doused everybody, including the horse, in champagne. Now, people on social media noted that Jokic seemed way more excited for his horse winning than when the Nuggets actually won the NBA Finals. Jokic, of course, a huge horse lover. He even accepted his 2022 MVP award in Serbia while he rode back to his stable on the horse, which is so funny.
All I have to wonder is, was he this emotional when his child was born? Because we know that it's not the NBA that moves him to tears. It's horses. Was he this emotional when his child? I mean, as you mentioned, 3 MVPs, a championship, finals MVP, 7-time All-Star,
it's the horses.
5-time All-NBA, and the thing that moves him to tears are the horses. It is time to accept, guys, Nikola Jokic is a part-time NBA player, full-time horse lover. This is a hobby. This is a passion project. But honestly, it is really cool to see because we never see the side of Jokic. It's horses. So
it is. It's so funny.
Whatever it takes, I guess.
Exactly. Look, he's taken his teammates like Aaron Gordon to some of these horse races
Denver
in Serbia.
Needs to bring horse stables to the arena.
I know. I mean, we talked earlier with Tom Brady about all the things he owns. I think the next person we talk to is Jokic and all of the horse races.
Bring the horses to Denver. The next.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching Front Office Sports today. We have more heading into NFL's preseason matchup of the NFL Hall of Fame game on Thursday coming your way tomorrow. We'll see you next time.